Here in Times Square, Team USA versus the world. Jason Knapp with Olympic champion Roland Gardner. The latest bout, Randi Miller, 2008 Olympic bronze medalist for the United States. Ready to battle Alina Makhinya, the 23-year-old from the Ukraine, who's the reigning world and European champion. So this should be a stern test here for the two-time U.S. Open champion. Randi Miller won her latest national title a couple of weeks ago in Las Vegas.
And this is where Randi is really physical, really strong, starts off strong out of the gate, and ultimately, just wants to just wear you down and beat you up.
That's exactly what we're seeing from Miller here in this opening 30-second stretch, but giving up two to Makhinya as the wrestler from Ukraine is able to score first.
And that's where, you get almost in a no man's land, an woman's position to where you get close to the edge of the mat, and do you continue to be aggressive? And that's where Randi kind of slowed down and ultimately, gave up the angle and ultimately got taken down off of her own great effort and a great own attempt, to snap down and get in a position to where you can score. And, it lose a little bit of the confidence when you work so hard to get in a position. But ultimately, that's where a great wrestler is going to come back and continue to strive to, get the push out like she is right now.
Miller gets the push out, and folks at the edge of the mat ready to be in a catching position. If Makhinya was going over, a couple of the wrestlers joked that we're in the middle of Times Square. They got to be worried. They push a little too hard, they may end up in traffic off to the side here. But the crowds are buffered in and enjoying this dual meet. You see the action here in Times Square.
Headlock position, no points. Well, they're looking at it. No points. Slip throw back to the feet. Another opportunity. Randi's, you've got to be patient. Typically a little bit of some judo technique, inside trip there. No points given. Randi's got a 2-on-1. Looking at it, going a little bit upper body again with the headlock, and they're going to give her 2 points for the takedown. So ultimately, being ahead 3-2 now.
So Miller will take the lead 3-2. 70 seconds left to go here in the first period. Wrestling outside, what's that sensation like?
Oh, it's freedom, to have a nice cool day. The weather's nice and pleasant here, and ultimately you want to get sweaty. You want to break a sweat, but you don't want to get overheated. And it's not too hot, it's not too cold. It's just nice and pleasant, and it's just spectacular weather here. Ultimately, Randi get taken down for the 2-point takedown. Now being down 4-3, you just got to focus. It doesn't matter, crowd doesn't matter. Ultimately, it's a match on a mat where you get to go out and compete to ultimately represent your country and where you're from and prove what kind of athlete you are.
So the reigning world and European champion Makhinya is getting things done against Randi Miller. 4-3, 30 seconds left to go first period.
And Alina, always staying in solid, pretty good position, and then looking for some funky position to kind of throw. Always looking for, a potential headlock, and being willing to go down to the mat, and ultimately keeping Randi's elbows short, so Randi can't go behind and try to get a takedown here. Randi's really, being persistent and getting in Alina's head, and that's something that is going to be good in the second period if she can keep that pressure, because typically everybody makes mistakes. It's just a matter of how bad your mistake is.
You saw Miller sneaking a peek at the clock. Short time, not able to score again. Down 1 here going to the second 3-minute period. And you look at Randi Miller getting on the scoreboard.
Randi positioned to where she's circling and then ultimately slips the headlock. It wasn't a real great attempt from Alina, but ultimately slipping the headlock, getting the 2-point takedown. That's where Alina almost kind of a fireman's, swing single, and then ultimately dumped the fireman's for the swing single for the takedown, and ultimately, the 4-3 lead.
Second 3-minute period underway between Randi Miller from the United States, Alina Makhinya from Ukraine. Miller won her bronze medal back in 2008, not part of the 2012 U.S. Olympic team. Clarissa Chun able to medal for Team USA there with bronze in the London Games.
And that was just a solid snap down off balance, and ultimately, you know, that's where you can do some real damage on your opponent, you know, really snapping them down solid there. And, you know, Alina just realized, you know what, I got taken down, come back to the feet, stay focused, you know, down by one, no big deal. That's why as a world champ last year, you know, I have the ability to come back. And, you know, Randy's like, you know what, I don't know if I'm going to win this, but I'm going to give you everything I have. And that's been so impressive. Potentially another 2 points. Yep, got confirmed for 2 more points. You know, solid, getting those, you know, small victories one at a time. Been ahead by 3 now. It's not that big of a lead with both these great athletes. But to be able to, you know, keep that pressure. You know, Randy right back up in the face. That's the intensity that it takes to be the best year in, year out. And that's what, you know, Randy's done. She took a cycle off, you know, spent some time and, you know, enjoyed life, and now she wants to get back on the podium in Rio, and this is, you know, this is a great start to getting out there. And Alina looking for a double overhook throw. And Randy's got to be really smart here. Don't want to overcommit.
And they were trading the lead back and forth, but back-to-back takedowns for Randi Miller. Up by 3, 90 seconds left. And moving around again, Miller using your abilities to get another takedown in 9-4 against last year's world champion.
And that is the mental and the physical grind. You know, Alina's like, oh, I almost had a throw, but then I just got taken down, and it just it chips away at your confidence. And, you know, looking over at Alina's coach, you know, he's like, you got to go, you got to be active. You know, you can't wait. You got 1:09 left, and you're down by 5.
In this bout, in the 69-kilogram weight class, Randi Miller continuing her run of dominance here. Another takedown, 2 more. It's 11-4.
And you know, that's where Randy's smart, but you don't want to get in a position where you're pushing and ultimately you get thrown with very few seconds left.
Interesting, you talked about her taking time off. Some wrestlers want to keep going after Olympic success. Others want to step back. You know, Jordan Burroughs has kept going after his Olympic gold. Jake Varner took off a year and has come back with a vengeance for the U.S. men. And Miller again stepping away after Olympic bronze in 2008. She looks re-energized.
Yeah, 100%, and you know, just the intensity itself. And you know, they're looking at calling Alina because she's just not really super aggressive, kind of backing up. The referee said no points. 11-4 is the lead, and Alina's trying to overhook, and trying to headlock, trying any type of position she can. Randi needs to continue to circle. Short elbows is what you call it. Now they're looking at giving the point. Ultimately, well, you know, I don't know what they're awarding. They put up points. I don't know. Yeah, they gave it to Alina, saying that Randi's fleeing the hold and pushing and not being super aggressive. But, you know, you look at it, you know, Randi's continuing to keep that intensity and the tempo up.
Well, 1 point there to the reigning world champ, but Randi Miller has gotten it done. Strong effort for the wrestler from Colorado Springs. And the 30-year-old at the high school in Arlington, Texas, able to pick up the win here against Alina Makhinya of Ukraine. Miller with another impressive win for Team USA.